This is a joke, don't take it seriously. I know. You read the title correctly and I have some evidence to back it up. Now I hear you saying, Skip, but isn't the Loud House a kid's show that's also very diverse? How could the characters be racist? And to that I say, you haven't seen anything yet. And hear me out too. Let's just cut to the chase and not play around and ask the real question. Who is the most racist Loud House character? First, let's set some important ground rules. What I mean by most racist isn't really an explicit desire to create some kind of ethno state or believes anyone that isn't from the same gene pool as them are inherently inferior. It's more in that
what do you mean by that?
range, and not some shit like we must secure royal wood for our people and a future for loud children. And of course, don't take this bullshit seriously. Another thing I should point out is that we're mainly going to look into the Loud family itself, not much of the background characters or recurring ones like Clyde or Flip. Though I'm gonna skip a few characters as I couldn't find much evidence of racist views on them, but for those that I managed to find, you'll be surprised. So with that out of the way, let's dive into their Twitter history and dig up old tweets as we find the answer to who is the most racist Loud House character. I think I said that twice already. Let's begin with what I think is both the weakest and the strongest case for most racist character, Lola Loud. Now on the surface, she looks like your typical innocent pageant girl who's a little competitive and aggressive when it comes to that. But that's where they get you. I don't think I have to say the obvious, but for those who are still confused, who else do you think is this enamored and obsessed with her blonde hair and blue eyes and fair skin? Does that ring a bell to anyone in the room? No? Just me? If you look into recent real-world controversies, some of you may be familiar with a person named Sydney Sweeney and the Sydney Sweeney Has Great Janes ad campaign by American Eagle. Interesting. And what do you see between the two? Obviously, they look the same. You know how the saying goes, if it moves like a duck, quacks like a duck, and swims like a duck, then it's a duck. However, you may counter that by saying, but Skip, she has a black friend named Cricket Van Doren. How is she racist if she has a black friend? Real talk, who the fuck names their kid Cricket? Like, what the heck is that? It's like naming your kid after a fungus. Whatever. It's like the least questionable decision the show writers had made. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. And from what I could analyze of her character, Lola Loud seems to comfortably land on the alt-right side of the political compass for her affinity to monarchism, especially the absolutist one, her selfish authoritarian demeanor, treating her siblings like slaves, and a whole lot more. And that was just the first sibling. We have a couple more to go. Can't believe my favorite Loud sibling is on the files. The racist files, not the other files. So what's my evidence that the pun master herself is racist? Well, this one is quite shocking. On one April Fool's episode, we see a rather peculiar scene where Luan chooses questionable ways to prank Clyde. And just like Joe Rogan would say, Jamie, pull that up.
After what happened last year.
I'll play it again in case you missed it. Now, don't get mad at me, Jax Films, the way I'm about to explain what just happened on screen. So we see Clyde stepping into the Loud House, and as he put his foot on the steps, he triggered a tripwire that shot a sprinkler on him with the power of a fire hose. Then a leaf blower covered him in hay, and then he was attacked by a murder of crows. This is a rather oddly specific way to prank Clyde, the African American Clyde. Now if you don't know your real history, none of that conservative bullshit, you would know that these were methods used in the past to oppress black people during the civil rights era and before. Let's take it from the top. Luan sets up a sprinkler that sprayed him with water, reminiscent of the regular police and the riot police using fire hoses or water cannons to disperse crowds during protests or riots. That was used on Clyde. Then he was covered in hay from head to toe, reminiscent of how the freedmen were tarred and feathered during the post-war Reconstruction South, often carried by the Ku Klux Klan. I'm sure you've heard of them before. That was used on Clyde. Then finally, he he was attacked by a murderer of crows. Crows, huh? You know what else was named after crows? Jim Crow. That's right, Luan could not have accidentally used all of these together to prank Clyde, which we established is black. And you can just chalk this up to it's just a coincidence. Once it's happenstance, twice it's coincidence, 3 times it's a pattern. Luan gets some explaining to do, like what's up with that combo? Did I mention she's a comedian? Nowadays it's a fact that comedians are basically worse than Hitler, because they make jokes that make people want to kill themselves and make them a little uncomfortable. Is it because it's too funny? Who knows? From these patterns alone, we could essentially conclude that Luan Loud is a Klan member. Full stop. Doing all that shit to poor old Clyde and being a comic in this day and age? I mean, what else do you need? I can already see what Luan defenders are gonna say. How is she racist or even a Klan member? She's in love with Benjamin Ned Benny Stein, you know, the alleged Jew. To that I say, you know who else had a Jewish partner too? Benito Mussolini. Yeah, he had a Jewish mistress named Margherita Sarfati until 1938. What do you have to say to that, huh? This may be a bit surprising to many of y'all. How could a loving middle child of a big-ass family hold racist views? Well, do you know what's happening in the USA right now? ICE terrorists are terrorizing Mexican Americans and other minorities as we speak. And what about Lincoln Loud? Ain't he been abused enough? Well, if Hitler stubbed his toe, would you feel bad? I don't think so. So what's my evidence? Well, in the beginning, when the show first introduced Ronnie and Santiago, the Latina, the two had an antagonistic relationship. Skipping forward a bit on one episode, the two are tasked with taking care of an egg for a school project. And what did Lincoln think of Ronnie Ann when she was given the egg? An aggressive and careless woman. Interesting. It wouldn't take a genius to suggest that Lincoln assumes that Hispanic women are dangerous and couldn't be trusted. And can we talk about how he looks? He has white hair. Do you really need a dog whistle that is that glaringly obvious? And look at his clothing. Orange polo and blue jeans. You know who else has the color scheme of orange and blue? Donald J. Trump with the orange tan and blue suit. And what is Trump doing? Deporting Mexicans because he thinks they're dangerous cartel members. And what did Lincoln think about Ronnie Ann, the Mexican? Dangerous. And look at his shoes. Red and white, American flag, or MAGA hat. I'm sorry to say it, but Lincoln Loud is undeniably a Trump supporter. Hell, the show even officially started in 2016, the year Trump was elected. He said he's even wearing his colors and merch subliminally, like a dog whistle. And to disperse counterattacks from Lincoln defenders, how is he like Trump? Lincoln loves peace and mediating, not seeking conflict. He also loves Ronnie Ann, Ronnie Clone forever. Well, you're not gonna like this, but just like Donald Trump's board of peace, he did not seek peace, and he's back to Barbara Ann. That's not all. Lincoln also tried to win Stella Zhao's heart. Stella Zhao is canonically Filipina, and Lincoln is American. You know what happened back in 1899? The Philippine-American War, a war that invaded and occupied Stella's native land. And what party was for imperialism back then? The Republican Party. And what party is turning America fascist right now? The Republican Party. And who is the president? Donald Trump. And speaking of invading native land, you know who opened the Great Plains and the prairies for settlement? Abraham Lincoln of the Republican Party with the Homestead Act of 1862. I mean, with overwhelming evidence, there's not much to say other than
checkmate, Lincolnites!
We finally reached the penultimate and what I consider is the most racist Loud House character, and that is none other than Todd the Robot. If you don't know, Todd the Robot is a robot created by Lisa Loud. So by association, Lisa will be here too. And what does Todd do or say that makes him worse than Lola, Luan, and Lincoln? Well, take it for the horse's mouth.
Say hello to Todd. He's fluent in over 600 languages.
Hola, bonjour, guten Tag, goodbye.
Oh, and he destroys anything inferior to him.
You heard that right. Todd was programmed to destroy anything inferior to him. Does that ring another bell? You know what ideology was created with the sole purpose of destroying anything that's inferior to them? I don't think I need to say the name, and isn't it interesting that he is also fluent in German? And I think you should be afraid considering this thing placed himself in front of modern Homo sapiens as if his kind or his race is above us fleshy humans. And knowing that he destroys anything inferior to him, whatever could that mean, must mean that our species is doomed. And we don't have to hypothesize. You see what AI is doing today? Taking jobs, destroying the planet, drinking our water, taking our RAM, taking our GPUs, and so much more. And Todd is obviously an AI, and I'm afraid to call this guy the C word in fear of what might happen if I insult the Fuhrer. This is no joke, and I think I might have said too much. I gotta end this section quickly. In conclusion, the Loud House may not be as squeaky clean as you might have initially assumed. We explored 4 of the most racist Loud House characters, or at least those in the immediate Loud family. It was an eye-opener. I didn't think it was this deep, but after searching the truth, bending the logic, squinting my eyes and tilting my head till Al gets jealous, I see the truth now, and I hope you did too. So yeah, that was a serious critical analysis of the most problematic Loud House characters I could find. Be sure to support your boy and tell me what else I might have missed doing my research or coming through my memory. And the lesson we can learn here in the end is racism bad. Bet you never heard that before. See ya.